I'm Sharon Tazwell. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. Kamala Harris delivered a closing argument address during a rally Tuesday night in Washington, D.C. The vice president spoke with a site at Donald Trump's rally on January 6, 2021. Harris made a direct appeal to any undecided voters, saying the stakes are high.
Donald Trump has spent a decade trying to keep the American people divided and afraid of each other. That is who he is. But America, I am here tonight to say that is not who we are.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump held a dueling rally in Pennsylvania Tuesday night. Trump says winning Pennsylvania is crucial in this election.
Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. It's in your hands. If we win Pennsylvania, we're going to win the whole deal.
The Supreme Court rejected an appeal Tuesday to remove Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from the presidential ballot in 2 battleground states. Kennedy suspended his campaign back in August and endorsed former President Trump. He argued keeping him on the ballot in Michigan and Wisconsin violated his First Amendment rights by wrongly implying he's still running. Both states say removing his name before the election would be impossible. If you're just joining us, here's what you need to know. The suspect accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was flown from Pennsylvania to New York City to appear in federal court Thursday on murder charges. The 26-year-old's lawyers did not seek bail, but reserved the right to do so at a later time. Republican lawmakers say they've reached an agreement to keep the government funded. Congress is expected to vote on the deal Thursday evening. President-elect Trump says he supports the agreements. And workers at 7 Amazon facilities are on strike. The Teamsters Union says it comes after the company ignored a Sunday deadline for contract negotiations. Amazon says the strike is not expected to impact operations. And that's what you need to know. The 2024 voting season officially kicks off Friday with early in-person voting in some U.S. states. In Georgia, the state's election board voted to approve a new rule requiring counties to hand count ballots in this November's election. Well, joining us now for a look at all the political buzz is Alex Cohen. Alex, how would this move impact this year's election results in Georgia?
It's going to make things pretty tricky there, Sharon. There have been real concerns about this hand counting process, in one part because humans make errors. This can be an unreliable system, and that can really sow seeds of confusion. Also, election officials have said that they have basically since 2020 been very hard at work, something like 200 pages of election processes, and to change things up at this 11th hour, they say, could really further complicate matters.
President Joe Biden calls for a ban on congressional stock trading. The Associated Press says Biden endorsed the ban in an interview that's expected to be released this week. Well, during the interview, the president says, quote, nobody in Congress should be able to make money in the stock market while they're in Congress. A bipartisan proposal to ban trading by members of Congress and their families has dozens of sponsors, but it has not received a vote. Police in Kentucky are searching for the man accused of shooting 5 people over the weekend on a highway. Investigators say the suspect, Joseph Couch, shot into multiple cars along north and southbound I-75 on Saturday. Police say a woman contacted a local dispatch before the shooting, informing them Couch texted her saying he was going to kill a lot of people and kill himself afterwards. A $15,000 reward is now being offered for anyone with information on the suspect. Police believe he is armed and dangerous.
Cars run up down the interstate. Just things like that is putting pressure on him. And hopefully he'll eventually just walk out of the woods and give himself up.
Well, police say 5 people are recovering following the shooting. Accused serial killer Rex Heuermann is charged in the death of a 7th woman. He pleaded not guilty to the charge in a New York court Tuesday. Authorities say the 24-year-old victim's remains were first found on Long Island in 2000. Heuermann was arrested last year and charged with murdering 4 women whose bodies were found on Gilgo Beach in 2010. 2 additional murder charges were added in June for 2 women killed in 1993 and 2003. Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Tropical storm Francine expected to bring life-threatening conditions to the southern U.S. coast. Coming up on Spectrum News, how people along the Gulf are preparing for its arrival. A new reality of education coming up on Spectrum News, how one organization is bringing Black history to life in an immersive experience. Remembering a legendary actor with an iconic voice. Coming up on Spectrum News, the incredible impact James Earl Jones left on the world of entertainment.
Crypto. Home. Take me home.
Warner Brothers and DC Studios released the first trailer for its new Superman movie. It shows an injured Man of Steel, played by actor David Cornsweet, being rescued by his red cape-wearing superdog, Crypto. The teaser also features other superheroes and iconic Superman characters, including Lois Lane and the hero's arch-nemesis Lex Luthor. Superman flies into theaters July 11th. Sony Pictures releases the first official movie trailer for Karate Kid Legends.
Our traditions are rooted in history.
The upcoming film is the latest installment in the iconic martial arts franchise. Ralph Macchio, who starred in the original 1984 Karate Kid movie, reprises his role. He will be joined by Jackie Chan, who starred in the 2010 Karate Kid remake. They will play mentors to a new martial arts prodigy. Karate Kid Legends hits theaters May 30th.
It's the final countdown to Election Day. Both presidential candidates kicking it into overdrive as their campaigns near the finish line. Harris and Trump have spent the last few days making their final pitches to voters in different ways, even making some surprise appearances. Well, joining us now to break it all down is our own Alex Cohen. And Alex, what can you tell us about the mood for both of these campaigns now that we are really in the final few hours at this point and the suspense is building in this tight election?
Yes, so much tension, so much suspense, and there have been so many emotions over these many weeks and months of this presidential race. But it's interesting to see in these final few hours which emotions have really risen to the top for both of these campaigns. Let's start with Vice President Kamala Harris, who is fresh on the heels of her surprise appearance on Saturday Night Live, as you see there over the weekend. And I think really trying to finish things out with a lot of fun, laughter, joy, humor, optimism, hope. She, just a couple of days ago was talking about trailing behind, being the underdog, now projecting confidence, not even mentioning the name of her opponent. Now let's turn to former President Donald Trump, who has been barnstorming all across this country, and it's seeming to be a bit fatigued in moments and a bit exasperated at times. And although during this presidential election season, there have been moments where he has been joking around. Now he seems to be kind of going with the darker message, saying claims that do not have any basis about election fraud, even talking about the potential of shooting through the fake news, hurting journalists. A very dark message with just hours to go.
Very, very different tones from these campaigns and these candidates. But millions of people across the country have already been making their voices heard through early voting. Recent data shows more than 80 million people have voted, equaling about 49% of the total votes in the 2020 election. Can you break down what that means?
I think it actually means a couple of different things. I think, early voting was not a system that a lot of people were used to. Same goes for mail-in voting. But we've seen over the years, especially considering that the last presidential election was held during a pandemic, that a lot more people have kind of broadened out their experiences, are now more comfortable not necessarily voting in person on Election Day. I also think just given the fact that you never know what life is going to throw you, be it natural disasters here in California, we just got reports that unusually strong winds could affect power and electricity at voting places. I think we're seeing more and more Americans take advantage of this opportunity, and it's really led to extraordinary turnout.
Okay, and we'll see what that all means come election night, or maybe even in the days afterwards. Alex Cohen in Southern California, thank you.
Thank you.